ripping off your mask and being authentic in the business place. So I'm going to start by ripping off my mask. And I'm going to admit that I was kind of obsessed with the idea of participating in this healing summit. As a child of Holocaust survivors, knowing that this summit was taking place in Berlin was so meaningful. I really, really craved being among leaders in the health field who are on a mission to make the world a kinder, more forgiving, and gentler place. And there seemed no better place to do it, really, than here. I have several hats, actually. In addition to being a therapist and an author, I'm also a journalist. I started out that way, and I still do that. And several months back, I was fortunate enough to be invited to a meet and greet in New York City for travel journalists. And I was interested in coming, and I'll admit, not just to hear about the healing hotels, which I was interested in, but my ulterior motive was I really wanted to meet Anne and Elizabeth and worm my way into being part of the summit.
You didn't share that.
Then, 2 days before it happened, tragedy occurred. My nose had a tragic meeting with a glass door. The door won. In some ways, I guess my nose did too, because it didn't actually break. My face was just a lovely rainbow of colors. So there went my chance to make a good impression. How could I go to this important meet and greet looking like I had gone 6 rounds with Rocky Balboa? So I said, it's not happening. How could Anne and Elizabeth actually see the real me beneath these black eyes? My decision was made. That was it. I was staying home. Then my best friend suggested, she said, Sherry, put on some makeup. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try. So what sealed the deal was, instead of wearing my contact lenses, I put on glasses, so the chartreuse frames kind of blended in and sort of hid the interesting colors on my face. So, mask in place, I sailed off to the meet and greet, trying my best to avoid any more glass doors. And it went beyond my expectations. Anne and I chatted for around a half hour or so, and she actually began typing what I was saying into her laptop, and she asked me pretty quickly to be at the summit. I just felt so blessed, so gratified, though I kept pulling my glasses lower down on my face. And then a few weeks later, I had a Skype session with Anne and Elizabeth to discuss my talk here today. And I asked, did you notice that I had like black eyes? And they hadn't, but by then I knew them, and I knew that even if they had noticed, it would not have made a difference because they'd seen the real me. So I'm going to tell one more afraid to rip off the mask personal story, and this happened a few decades ago when I was even less evolved. I was working in publishing at the time, and I was hired to edit a women's magazine called, very creatively, Woman. And I spent my days slaving over titles like Stuff Your Face and Lose 5 pounds in a weekend. And I was super excited when my first issue hit the newsstands. Only when I looked at the masthead, the place where the editorial staff was listed, I thought, I must be hallucinating. I wasn't called editor, but a lesser title, managing editor. The editor listed was someone who did not exist, Virginia Walsh. That name still lives on decades later in my nightmares. So I went to my bosses and I said, there must be a mistake. Why is there a phony name on the masthead? And they said, oh, well, Sherry, you need more experience before we give you that title. So I kind of like slunk back to my desk, but I quickly realized why this humiliating thing had been done to me. While the company was based in New York City, Mecca for Jews, half the readership was in different parts of the country where my tribe was rarer than a unicorn. My boss's fellow Jews were prejudiced against their own. Over the next 3 years, every time I complained about this fake non-Semitic name, they gave me a raise. Okay, that's nice. But as time went on, I could barely look at myself in the mirror. My parents were Holocaust survivors. How could I say I honored their legacy and lived in a way that brought pride to my people if I let this travesty continue? Even though I was out there regularly promoting the magazine, smiling brightly on TV, Virginia Walsh was in the office chained to her desk. Inside, I felt nauseous. I was a faker. The mask kept slipping. One day, I went in to see my bosses and I said, that's it, either Virginia goes or I do. Soon I was clearing out my desk.
Oh my God.
But I felt free and at peace for the first time in a long while. And an irony was, 18 months later, they begged me to come back. My replacement was not as good as I was at coming up with ridiculous titles. So I said, okay, but only if Virginia Walsh is retired. My name has to go on the masthead as editor. And they agreed.
Yay.
And yes, it felt like a vindication, but something was lacking. It was kind of like when your lover dumps you and you're so miserable, you can't get out of bed for weeks or months. Your only goal in life is for them to want you back. But by the time that happens, you've moved on. You don't care. So I left the magazine after 2 years, but I knew I would never, ever, ever again hide who I was for a job or a person. I might dab makeup on my face to cover up a black eye, but from then on, I have done my best to act in a way that feels authentic, soul-satisfying, not soul-killing. And the more work I did on myself, the more tuned I became with who I wanted to be in my professional life. The more I traveled and experienced different cultures, the more I grappled with the fallout of life. A divorce, being hit by a car that demolished my ankle, doing volunteer work at Ground Zero after 9/11, watching my parents grapple with Alzheimer's, heart attacks, and eventually pass on. The more I wanted the work I did to fit who I was striving to become. So I left the magazine world. I went to social work school to study to become a therapist. And I love helping people figure out who they are and how to make the pieces of their life fit. And when you attain the level that most of the people in this room have achieved professionally, then you need to figure out what kind of leader you want to be. There's the autocratic type, the Donald Trumps. The type of boss who holds on to as much power and decision-making as possible and has a very thin skin. The type of boss who imposes his will and does not like being challenged. Then there is the laissez-faire Warren Buffett-style boss. He gives his employees a lot of leeway and freedom and respect. The thinking is that his staff will be at their best when they're given autonomy. Of course, this sort of boss makes sure to hire excellent, self-directed people who can bloom in this atmosphere. The management style of Steve Jobs was somewhere in the middle. Despite often being mean-spirited, autocratic, arrogant, he was a stupendous leader. He was a visionary with passion for what he was creating, which helped him impart that vision and that passion to his employees. So though his behavior could be contemptible, his confidence in what he was creating inspired trust and excitement. Inder Nui, the CEO of PepsiCo, exemplifies a democratic management style. She encourages her staff to contribute ideas, and she's known for taking such an interest in her employees that she writes letters to their parents expressing gratitude to them for raising such a wonderful child.
Wow.
And of course, a woman is assumed to be more caring and emotional than a man. So she might be afraid to show the full palette of who she is in the workplace, the less soft, gooey parts. And a man might restrain his gooey parts for fear of being viewed effeminate, even in this day and age, especially in New York sometimes. And that leads to the hiding, the putting on the mask. I frequently tell my patients, if you keep trying to deny certain truths, to shove them back of the closet, so to speak, one day that closet door is going to spring open and all that junk, that stuff you suppress is going to come tumbling down on your head and bury you. To be your best, most honest as possible self in the workplace, you need to understand and accept who you are at the core. You've got to make friends with your triggers and your flaws. You have to acknowledge you're going to mess up. You'll never be perfect. There are certain things you'll just always suck at. Not everyone will think you're funny. Not everyone will think you're compassionate or a sparkling conversationalist. Not everyone will want to work with you, much less for you, or be your friend. It's okay. Once you understand and accept your core, your professional identity isn't tarnished by that desperate need for your coworkers, colleagues, or customers to validate you. Your work is not about ego fulfillment. It's about the love of what you do and the desire to have your business be successful. When you have enough self-awareness, your personal baggage won't impact the type of leader you want to be. A good rule of thumb for a leader of either sex is to strive to be authentic but appropriate to the setting or culture. Being authentic at work comes with a caveat. You've got to maintain some composure when you're the leader, even when there's an unexpected setback. It's not like you're at home with friends, watching your favorite sports team lose because of a terrible call by an umpire or referee. You can't curse nonstop for 15 minutes or throw things at your employees. Though my boss at Woman Magazine once backed me up against a bookcase with a cream cheese smeared plastic knife because my cover titles just were not titillating enough. Of course, you're at your most raw when you're going through a personal issue. The death of a loved one, divorce, an illness. You can't mask the enormity of this work. The emotional cost would be too great. Remember the junk that comes flying out of the closet. But you can share in a way that doesn't derail everyone's morale and productivity. Maybe have a series of one-to-one meetings or over coffee or lunch, or call a team meeting specifically to discuss what you're going through. Don't make an announcement about what's going on with you at the tail end of a meeting about sales projections. Be human, be real, show pain, but show your strength as well. Save the worst of your grief, pain, and self-doubt for your friends, your family, your support group, and yes, your therapist. So yes, you can be your true, authentic, whole, imperfect self in the workplace, mostly. And that means letting your employees also be their whole, imperfect self in the workplace, mostly. There's a fascinating study by Deloitte University, the Leadership Center for Inclusion, that found that more than half of us cover up key parts of our identity at work in an effort to fit in. And research shows the health cost of covering up who you are is linked to serious issues, including a decrease in immune system functioning. You set the tone. The more your employees feel valued for who they are, not just the talents they were hired for, the more they will want to give their all. So it's great to share some of your outside interests and let them share theirs as well. Frederick Laloux wrote in Reinventing Organizations, "We are all of fundamental equal worth. At the same time, our community will be richest if we let all members contribute in their distinctive way, appreciating the differences in roles, education, backgrounds, interests, skills, character, point of view, and so on." So I encourage everyone in this room, when you leave the energy and just love of this amazing conference and you return home, to think about, what does being authentic mean for you? In what ways are you being authentic? In what ways are you being inauthentic? How can you create more authenticity in your personal life, which is where it starts, and in the workplace? How can you encourage authenticity in others? The more you are real, human in the workplace, the more others feel free to be real themselves. But I want to leave you with probably the most important bit of wisdom I have ever imparted. Keep your nose away from glass.